Morning, people. How are we all today? Hope you're fine. We'll just get Facebook on board, and then we'll get the other David in as it's Wednesday morning, and we'll throw the headlines at him, see what he makes of them. So, interesting day yesterday, and the papers are full of it. But we'll wait until we get to the papers. Right, that's us got Facebook on board. So let's get this up and running, I suppose. Indy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is overcast this morning. Compared to yesterday, it's chilly at 12 degrees, but it's dry and there's no rain in the forecast. First the Facebookers in that I've seen. Hi Melanie, good morning. Right, let's get the other David in. By the way, that's the weather here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. You want to know the weather's like where you are? Look out your own bloody windy. Right, morning David.
Morning, David. I'm looking out the window right now, and it's looking grey and cold.
Aye, same here. Same here. I even put the heating on for a wee bit this morning, David.
Yeah, well, luckily I've got a new bit of kit in the kitchen that's supplying heat if we need it. Much cheaper as well. My goodness me, isn't it? Because it comes up the heat immediately, which is different from the old boiler. The old boiler was 20 years old.
Aye. So, oh yeah, that's right. You got a new boiler fitted yesterday, didn't you?
That's right. And it's there's people out there that I look at and I go, they can't afford the gas to actually run some of that. I'm fortunate in that situation, but my goodness me, it's a big chunk out of the blooming pocket, I'll tell you.
Always is, David. When I got a boiler pan 10 years ago, it's longer than that now, and changed to a wet electric system. That wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't cheap. Right. For there, let's get started. First up this morning, we've got the Scotsman. And folks, there's only a few different headlines today. The main one has to do with the vote in Holyrood yesterday, so let's pop it up. So, as I say, only really one big headline in the papers today, folks. Right, Mr. Milligan, landmark moment as MSPs vote to back assisted dying bill.
Yeah, as a guinea pig, I would say, yep, that's basically it says on the can what it is. End of story. The Scotsman, I hate the Scotsman, but beside the point. There you go.
Well, anyway, first stage of legislation is passed.
Yeah, there's lots of amendments and all the rest of it to go into it, right? And there's a lot to consider, I think, listening to our debate this morning.
Well, we'll get more into it as we go through, David. Anyway, first stage of legislation is passed by 70 votes to 56.
Yeah.
A step closer to choice for terminally ill adults.
One abstention.
Opponents and many MSPs seek further scrutiny.
Yeah.
Which is rightly so. Rightly so. Further scrutiny is a must. Right. So, who had 129, 126 voted? We'll say the presiding officer sat on the fence and didn't vote. We know that there was one abstention. Not sure who that is yet. I haven't looked at it yet. Yeah. So, who's the other one?
I know.
Anyway, they must be on the sick or something, David.
Yeah, maybe.
You know. Right, next up we'll get the Herald. We'll put it up. Yeah, fake. One of the ones. There we go.
Turn the handle.
Historic vote is landmark moment and law change bid. Now, why would it be a law change bid, David?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure, because if you're talking about changing law bid, then the law is that you don't take somebody's life, and they are talking about doctors able to take somebody's life.
Nah, it's a wee bit more basic than that, David, believe it or not.
Go on then.
Because even if they do pass it, that doesn't mean it's getting signed into law.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know? So that's what that is all about in the Herald. You know, it's a bid to change the law.
Yeah.
But it's still subject to scrutiny to a parliament in a foreign land 475 miles away, and then has to be signed into law by
King of
the state, King of England.
Yeah.
Right, next up we've the Rancid record, and as you know, I don't put the Rancid record up, David, so I'll just give you the headline. Euthanasia law backed by MSPs. Historic vote for assisted dying. Parley bill paves way for the terminally ill to end their own lives. And that's important to be said, David. It is to end their own lives.
Yes. Yes.
There's no medical procedure here. If you can't lift the cup, you can't shuffle off.
Yeah, that's right.
You know. And politician behind a law calls decision landmark moment. And Liam MacArthur was greeting as it passed.
There's maybe he's a close relative that's suffering at the moment. Could be a situation like that, you know. So don't read too much into these things.
Right, next up's the scum, so I'll just give you what it's got. Historic Parley vote. Right to die bill a step closer. Result at third time of trying. And MSP Liam's emotional fight, life changing.
I remember Margot. The first time.
David.
I remember Margot the first time giving a very, very important speech on that, you know, because she was on end of life, and it's a shame it didn't go through at that time. She didn't get what she wanted, but you've got to look at, there are good reasons why it didn't go through at that time.
Anyway, the bylines is, or the rest of that headline is, support hailed a chance to make compassionate choice.
Yeah.
So those that support that, you know.
I think the question of perceived coercion is something that I'm not sure can be overcome by a form of words. It's where somebody might not be coerced to take their own life, but they may coerce themselves.
Well, as I say, it's all down to checks and balances, David.
Yeah.
As I say, as I tell you earlier, we took part in a public consultation, and it was the area that interests me specifically was the checks and balances.
Yeah.
You know. Right, next up we'll get the Times. What's the Times got for us today? The Times has man wrongly jailed 38 years ago faces long wait for compensation.
I saw some of this. It was they were put it as the biggest miscarriage of justice that Britain has ever seen.
Yes.
But I didn't get any further into it than that. So because we don't.
Well, we'll get a wee bit further into it when we get to it, where it's the main headline. Okay.
Yeah.
But why would they be facing a long wait for compensation? There's a miscarriage of justice, and the man spent 38 years in jail.
Yeah.
He's got to be compensated at least 38 years' wages.
It seems to me.
An average wage.
It seems to me that there's an unwritten rule that says if somebody's going to scoop the British government for more than the full amount, they don't get anything. So you can take that for the waspy woman and all the rest of it, or people that are in that situation. Once they go over a certain amount, that's it. You're getting fuck all.
Well.
So you know he's in jail for 38 years. So even if he got just a minimal 10 grand a year, that's getting on for $500,000. He's up there. You know what I mean?
Aye.
So possibly, yeah.
So, and the main headline: MSP's back assisted dying bill at first hurdle. Now, the first hurdle's the important part there, folks. That's the important part because people start to get cold feet the nearer they get to voting for the real McCoy.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you get minds being changed left, right and centre.
You needn't be a religious person to vote no, right? Yeah, if you're talking about the religious end, where it's
I wasn't talking about religious end,
no, but it's a sin to take your own life, right? But you could maybe be minded with the fact that you know a lot of people that go to the church or wherever that would be against it. So as an MSP, you've got to be minded to not just make the thing on your own. So suddenly I don't want to be what?
They want to burn their arse on the candles, so she'll pay a fine.
Liz, oh dear.
Thank you very much, Liz. Fine accepted. You're given a free pass, but guess what? I ran out of candles.
Right.
Right. Thank you, Liz. Thanks very much.
The Catholics will say, go say three Hail Marys and fuck off. There you go.
No, I wasn't talking about the religious side yet, no.
Yeah.
But see, the important part there was first hurdle. It is only the first hurdle.
Yeah.
It'll go back to committee again, then it'll go for its second reading, back to committee again, back in for its third reading, and final vote. So it's got a long way to go, folks.
I don't think that's enough. I think there needs to be about 10 readings of that particular bill to actually get juice out of it, because you need to get all the juice out of it before you can make an informed choice.
Stephen, you're popping in to say hello from Manchester. A wee bitty for the baby stroke food banks. Thanks, Stephen. What are you doing in Manchester? Hey, I'll find out later. Send me a message.
I see. Thank you very much.
Steve. Right, so that was the times. Let's move on, because time's moving on. Right. Next up, we've got the Daily Fail. We'll put that up. Love the Daily Fail. Knuckle dragger's rag. Right, the Scottish Daily Fail has right to die will pass his first hurdle after emotional 5-hour Hollywood debate. Tears as MSPs back assisted suicide by 14 votes.
It's a typeface he used for the Scottish Daily Mail. It's the old German typeface, isn't it? So it's like a Nazi rag. Think about it. Yeah.
No, it's the typeface they use in the English Daily Fail.
Yeah, there you go.
But hey, that's just thrown me right off. Don't interrupt me when I'm reading the headlines, Bamport.
It's the same as before. There you are.
Tears as MSP's back assisted suicide bill.
The guy's maybe got a relative or whatever. That'll come out. If you interviewed on that one. So,
David, I wouldn't be surprised if there was tears on both sides. It's a bloody hard decision.
I know it.
You know, I don't know where I'm sitting at actually.
The moment I'm sitting against because I'm a Christian and there's lots of people like me, but you think about it, the personal, the perceived coercion of I'm useless, I'm a waste of space. My family'd be better without me. Go and I'll do it. But if you're a Christian, the idea is that you're automatically you sin. Therefore, you go to hell, go to bad fire. That's it. Don't you dare laugh. Don't you dare laugh. It's my prayers that'll keep you out of hell, so don't worry. Don't laugh at me.
Don't worry about going to hell. That's where all my fucking pals will be. I'm not worried about heaven or bloody hell.
Hey, he's
right.
my best friend in the day.
Next up, we'll get an Arsenal. Keep your head in the game, you.
Right. Hang on.
Tell us how much damage you are going to do to Scotland. SNP demand full impact assessment on immigration proposal.
Yeah. So, impact assessment. No. Ain't fucking independence. Excuse me.
Impact assessment. Not
National
even
honesty are a waste of space these days.
This is the wrong argument here. Impact assessment. It should just be a short, swift, polite letter saying we're taking control of immigration to
right.
Scotland.
Fuck off. Do what you like, but we are no.
We'll be starting to issue the Scottish passport as of this date.
Yep.
That's what should have been.
Dead right.
The landmark moment, MSP's back assisted dying bill. MacArthur's legislation clears first hurdle.
Yeah.
You see, that's the important part to remember, folks. First hurdle.
Yeah.
And Forbes must face Holyrood over review into funding for arms firms. Should the government be investing in arms firms, David?
No. Sorry.
Yes.
No.
They have a vested interest in defence. Of course they should.
I honestly don't care. And the reason I don't care is because when it comes to it, if a government is involved in financing that, right, that means that people are for the use of weapons or against it are held to in their name. It's in their name, whether they like it or not. Let a private company do it, and at least the government can control a private company by legislation, right? If it's a government, doesn't matter.
Would be vested in defence, David. England and Wales already considering this assisted dying bill for terminally ill and in the process, so reduces chance. Yeah, but it's been kicked to 2029, so if this passes before 2029, there's still scope for Supreme Court challenge.
I wonder why 2029. Could that be because that's the end of the Labour term?
Aye.
They really don't want to get into something that's going to tax their brains so much. Fuck off.
Granny, waddle bottom. That's a surprise statement from you. I can assure you. That's not something that Anne Widdecombe would ever say. Granny You're compassionate in your old age, Granny. Right. Where are we? So that was the National. On to the other right-wing knuckle draggers rag. The Express. The paper for the people who can barely read and write. Vote passes 70 to 56 on day of powerful debate over right to end own life. Emotions high as Holyrood MSP's back assisted dying bill. I think there's much better to say about this one, David.
At the end of the day, it's like, 70 to 56, was it? 70?
Yes, 70 to 56.
Right. So, in actual fact, you've got to figure that's 14. The people that are on the no side are thinking, well, we've only got to get 15 people, 15 of the MSPs involved in saying, changing from yes to no, and that's it, we've won. So, and a lot of MSPs' minds will be, do I really want this? Do I want this in my life? Am I really that concerned? And a lot of them will go, nah.
Well,
if it turns out a real stushy, they'll just go, right, forget it, fuck off, right? Seriously.
Now, for what I've seen, those who support the bill are calling this Scotland as a progressive nation. And that this is a progressive policy.
There is the situation where you can progress down the wrong direction, right? All we've got to do is, your words...
All progression is good.
Checks and balances. Checks and balances. Checks and balances make sure that something like that is handled correctly.
You sure of a minute?
At the moment, there's no checks and balances, really.
They're in the paper, David, if you read it, but, it's about the levels of... Now, for these people who say this is a progressive policy, what they're saying is they're giving the humans the ultimate freedom,
Yeah, all right.
the
Okay.
freedom of choice.
What we do is, see, we got a war against Russia. Just if you want freedom of choice, we'll put you in the front line. How's with
But
that?
to be fair, David, that ultimate freedom's always been there for any of us.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I mean, if that, we wouldn't have such a thing as a suicide figure each week.
Well, yeah, you've got to look at the point of view of suicide, of actually doing it. There's a lot of people might consider it, but then at the end of the day, they think, oh, no, and they won't do it, right? And so therefore, they'll go through the pain.
Well, you know what? I dare say there'll be a few people, when the cup's put in front of them, won't take what's in the cup.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, let's move on. Next up, we'll get the Telegraph.
At that moment in time, do you get the person go, look, it's taken me 10 minutes to make this up. You get it fucking taken, and that's it.
Right, the Daily Telegraph has assisted dying law clears first hurdle, and as I say, that's the important thing to say. It's only the first hurdle.
Yeah.
You know, it is really, it's a bloody hard one. I'm glad I'm not having to vote on it, David.
Yeah. It's easy to be, as the name inverted commas, an armchair warrior at a time like this, when there's a real decision to be made like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, if I was involved in that vote, I'd just go, nah, I don't believe that we are mature enough as a species to be able to do stuff like that.
That's another thing, David. You know,
I think what you've got to do is you've got to change the law slightly to make it whereby if somebody is helped in that situation, that they don't face severe consequences. Because, for example, if somebody helps a spouse or whatever, they can go to jail. End of story. Yeah.
right, the byline. A hostile state linked to Starmer firebombs.
Hostile state linked to. Absolutely.
So, I'm sure. Are you aware that Starmer's properties have been getting targeted?
I heard something about that.
Tonight, you know.
Yeah. Again, it's yawn moment. Who the hell's that this time?
Someone is at the front door.
I apologise for this, guys, but unfortunately,
It's the bloody obvious computer.
yeah.
Right. Anyway, folks, just in case, I'll continue to tell you this story.
Broadcast. I'll be 6 minutes. All right. So out of there. All right. 6 minutes. All right. I'll see if I can get the hold of Katie. Right. See you back. I'm freezing. I've got an old man at the door.
Well, we let him in.
Aye, I'm going to do that.
Right, you wait and let him in. I'll continue with this story.
Yeah.
Anyway, a 21-year-old man, folks, has been arrested in connection with arson against against Starmer's family properties. A car that belongs to his family was set on fire.
Open.
2 properties were set on fire. I'm going to throw him out.
What's doing? Fish. It's open, Dad. It wouldn't move otherwise.
That's that sorted. Yeah. Right. So, what they're now saying is that this 21-year-old man had a motive and he was from a hostile state. Well, we need more information on that. In a hostile state. Many enemies has the UK got? Anybody want to put a guess in the comment on how many enemies the UK has got? Thanks, Graham. How does insurance, etc., work with assisted dying? Something that's going to have to be looked into, Graham. Something that's going to have to be looked into. Because suicide, your policy's void. Yeah. Right, hold on, he's back. Let's get him back in. Right, you back, sir?
The door was blown open. There you go. What can I say?
I don't know. Right,
Right.
next up we'll get the Guardian. Nope, that's still the bloody Telegraph. Here we go, the Guardian.
You want to feed that hamster, honestly. Zelensky, Putin is the obstacle to a peace deal. Yeah, it's today that they're meeting, isn't it, in Turkey?
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe it's today that Putin and Zelensky are actually going to meet face to face.
Oh.
So both Putin and Zelensky can say, "Trump, fuck off," right? And that's it, you know.
Right, violence. Man jailed man jailed for 1987 killings has conviction closed. And we'll get a wee bit more of that shortly. And number 10 defends Starmer's immigration rhetoric. I haven't had a chance to speak to you about that yet, David. What did you make of Starmer's Island of Strangers speech?
It's unbelievable. What a thing to say. Should have been Enoch Powell. Enoch Powell has come back to Lahores. Rivers of blood, right? Starmer should be really severely sanctioned for that and have to hand in his resignation. Seriously. That's unacceptable.
It's not something I thought I'd ever hear coming out of a Labour politician's mouth, but considering he's no Labour politician,
Right.
I guess I wasn't that surprised.
Yeah.
You know.
He is ultra right wing. He's a wrong man for the job, right? And it's like, you know, it's what we've been saying all along. He's a Zionist. He doesn't believe in the Zionist because his wife and kids are the Israeli Jewish, right? And at the end of the day, it's like that's why he supports the action against Hamas, but also it's why he's got such thoughts and feelings towards people that are coming into this country.
It's had nothing to do with it at all. He was trying to out for us, and it's nothing to do with Starmer. He's no running the country.
Therefore, what you're doing is you're trying to describe a fascist who basically will picks on minorities. That's what
David, get in your head. Starmer's no running the country or the Labour Party. It's Morgan McSweeney. And you need to know that man's background to know what's actually going on. McSweeney's from Ireland and he's by a Bamport. And his family's always been on the right of politics.
Yeah.
But Starmer's just a front man.
Aye, I know that.
I mean, he's just honestly, you know, he's not even got any charisma. But you think he'd proofread the things he's about to read out, wouldn't you? I mean, somebody passed speech like that in front of you.
The Israeli government as well. So.
But if somebody passed speech like that in front of you, you think you'd proofread it before you went out and read it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that is Enoch Powell. Seriously, out of back.
No, it was that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think, what was that in Enoch's speech with strangers in our own land? That was it, what it was in Enoch's speech. Island of Strangers.
Rivers of blood. Yeah.
But as I say, the phrase Island of Strangers basically comes from that bit where strangers in your own land for Enoch Powell, you know.
Right.
Right, the eye goes on. Put it up. This one's a cracker. New migrant rules boost UK's hope for softer Brexit deal. Now, there's some real mental gymnastics in this one, people. So I don't expect David to have an absolute clue what that fucking headline's about.
Right, okay. New migrant rules. What new migrant rules have they got?
That's these ones we're talking about with scrapping the carers visa.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. But how would that boost UK hopes of a softer Brexit deal? What the hell's going there?
This is where the mental gymnastics in this newspaper comes in.
Right, go on then.
Because according to this newspaper, banning immigrants from elsewhere in the world means that Labour will enter into a youth movement deal with the EU, and that will give them a softer Brexit.
I think these guys want Chapman on the shoulder and saying, fucking wake up. The EU are not interested in dealing with the British government in any way whatsoever. Because what will happen is, you lot will be until 2029 if you get that far, right? And then the other lot that kicked the EU into touch will be back in again. Or something that looks like them.
As I say, it's
And
a real bit of mental gymnastics.
Yeah, an ex-MEP called Nigel Farage will probably end up running the country in 2029, and that means definitely he won't want the EU at all anywhere near it.
As I say, David, it took a shitload of mental gymnastics to get from clamp down on migration to better relations with the EU. I mean, a shitload of mental gymnastics. Never mind the nonsense and bollocks that allegedly goes where. How did they come away with this loon ball nonsense?
Yeah. Wait, David, do you know I know something there? There's stuff going on here within the sphere of the mainstream media that it beggars belief. I mean, I wrote a post yesterday.
No beggars belief.
On
beggars belief
it's been tying up with a Labour MSP saying that the SNP should be sanctioned because they're ignoring defence. Defence is reserved. And you look at that and you go, it's just an excuse to write an SNP bad story. That's the way they're going. That's the way they're all going. This one doesn't exactly deal with the SNP or Scotland. Doesn't relate to that. But at the same time, it's like they're
able to that boy.
What?
Sometimes I wonder where your head's at. You could probably get a job in these papers with the mental gymnastics you put in this nonsense you're spouting, man. Anyway.
Good to hear where it's going.
Right. As I say, the mental gymnastics to get there.
Yeah.
You clamp down to migration and opening up migration to you. We never had so much fucking nonsense throughout your life.
It's politicking. That's all that is.
Right.
It's the newspapers politicking. Simple as that.
They were on the politics at all. They were trying to take the edge off of Starmer's bitter fucking racist speech. The other thing that was interested in that was that even though there are 4 or 5 official languages on these islands, they're going to be proficient in English.
I know.
What if they move to a community that only speaks Welsh or only speaks Gaelic or only speaks Doric? Or what if they move to Scotland and they learn to speak Scots?
Yeah. Take it back a step, right? If you take somebody that's actually trying to get their relatives in Scotland or England or wherever, right? After they had to leave a place because they're in fear for their lives, and it's like they're not accepted because they don't speak English.
But I mean, Starmer to demand that people move in here have proficiency in English. The man doesn't speak fucking English himself.
Yeah.
The man speaks gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Typical politician stroke lawyer speak. Absolute nonsense and gobbledygook.
There's a guy here called Sawa. He speaks that language as well, you know.
Aye, he's a fucking dentist. I could deal with one of them.
Well,
At the time the fucker was out at Parliament and back in the medical service, same with Sandy O'Haney and all.
where's he going home this year?
Trying out the medical service, they're avoiding working on it. They're always knocking it, but they'll not go back to fucking working at the cunts. But a dentist and the doctor doing because these two sprat panels are in Parliament. Right, what's the matter go for today? Well, we were talking about the story of the man who was in jail for umpteen million years for incorrect conviction. Well, here we go. Innocent and finally free after 38 years. I am not angry, I am not bitter. Now, this is the story of a man who had learning difficulties at the time of his arrest, a Peter Sullivan, who's now 64, and he's been in jail mine for 38 years. Yeah. He was wrongly convicted, and it looks like he was just an easy target. Let's take this guy and blame him. Yeah. You know?
What to look at is, if there was an actual crime committed, right, then because he got pinned with a crime, somebody else went free that shouldn't have.
That's right. Anyway, it was Beast of Birkenhall sex crime, 1968 stroke 1986 stroke 87. That's when this incident took place. Conviction was in 87.
So what was it? Was it rape or was it murder? What was it?
Murder, sexual rape and murder.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So there you go. Right, I'll need to go and get this started because I haven't cut off this morning. There we go. Wasn't hard to find.
And this is the reason why any thought of capital punishment should leave anybody's head, because when you kill somebody, if the state kills somebody because they've been found guilty of somebody's murder.
David, you know we pay attention to fucking. There's
Whoa. I'm trying to explain something. If somebody is hung by the state, it doesn't give you a chance to go back. It doesn't give a chance for an end like this where they've still got a life. At the end of the day, he's out of prison. He could have a life.
At 64, he's not going to have a long one. And he's going to have to fight for compensation, and he's got learning difficulties. He's going to struggle to get benefits when he's through.
He should be taken
care of. Right, let's move on. Time, David, time.
Don't care. I'm speaking important, right? So there you are.
The star has Paris robbery horror. I have babies. I need to live. Kim K feared she would die in 7.5 million.
There's a picture. Where is it? You put it up. You put it up and took it down.
Well, as far as I knew it was up.
No. Like Andy that's going around, but I like looking at pretty pictures.
Right, let's try it again. Is it up?
No, it's up.
Paris robbery horror. I have babies. I need to live. Kim K feared she would die in 7.5 million jewellery heist.
Again, this is one of these stupid things that I heard on the news last night. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Apparently, Kim Kardashian has given evidence in a trial in Paris to a 7.5 million jewellery heist, and she was on the show at the time. There you go. Well, so that's it for the day. Nothing in the papers except for assisted dying. It's past its first one. Firebomb against Starmer. Man wrongfully convicted for 38 years. And what was that last one? What was that other one? Oh, Zelensky, wasn't it?
Aye.
That was the headlines. That was them all.
Zelensky and Putin meeting is very important for a world point of view, right? The assisted dying, I don't believe it's going to happen.
Not from my little point of view, it's not.
Yeah.
Zelensky and Putin can lob fucking stones at each other for as long as they want. I don't care.
Yeah, but from a world point of view, everything needs to calm down a wee bit. Seriously.
We live in interesting times, David. Off we go. See you tomorrow, folks. 10:30. Don't be late. There will be a candle on the notice step
Hey, you're
tomorrow.
interesting times.
And we'll see him tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
Okie dokie, where we'll go a wee bit deeper into some of the things that have come up, like the Rivers of Blood speech and the.
And I'll get his brain blooming sorted out before we have another meeting, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's been an exciting programme. Bye for now, folks.
Bye then. Bye, Davey.